Imagine two dogs meeting each other after years apart. They might sniff, wag their tails, and go about their business. Now, imagine their owner walking into that same room. For most dogs, the reaction isn't even close. They ignore their own kind to sprint toward the person. Who do you think gets the bigger greeting? Surprisingly, science suggests many dogs would choose their human first. But why? Why would an animal evolve to prioritize a completely different species over its own kind? This behavior is a massive puzzle for biologists. In the natural world, survival usually depends on sticking to your own tribe. You share DNA with them, you understand their language, and rely on them for protection. Crossing that species line to form a deeper bond with a stranger is rare. And yet, your dog does it every single day the moment you walk through the front door. To understand how strange this is, we look at the biological baseline of the dog's ancestor, the wolf. In the wild, a wolf's life is defined by the pack. Every hunt and every defensive stand is done in total synchronization with other wolves. Prioritizing the group is the primary rule of survival. To a wolf, an animal from another species is either a threat to be fought or a meal to be chased. If you took a wild wolf and gave it the choice between a fellow pack member and a human, the wolf wouldn't hesitate. It would choose its own kind every time. But dogs have broken that ancient contract. They have shifted their center of gravity away from the pack and toward our living rooms. When a dog looks at a human, they aren't looking at a competitor or a predator. They are looking at their primary social partner. This shift means the modern dog operates under a social logic that exists nowhere else in the animal kingdom. They are the only large carnivores on Earth that have successfully traded the loyalty of their own species for the companionship of ours. It is a biological redirection that challenges everything we thought we knew about animal allegiance. This transition didn't happen overnight. It was the result of thousands of years of unintentional selection. Early humans didn't set out to create best friends. Instead, they simply tolerated the wolves that were less fearful. These friendly wolves were the ones that could scavenge near human camps without bolting or attacking. We were selecting for a specific trait, the ability to exist in our presence without stress. Over many generations, this selection for tameness actually changed the physical structure of the canine brain. Specifically, the areas of the brain associated with social interaction and communicative functions became more active. Their brains were being physically remodeled to seek out and process human social cues, making them more sensitive to our emotions than to the signals of other dogs. You can see this remodeling in how dogs communicate. If you point at a hidden object, a dog will look where you are pointing. This seems simple, but it's a sophisticated cognitive feat. Even chimpanzees, our closest relatives, struggle to understand that a human gesture is an attempt to share information. Dogs, however, are born with a human reading software pre-installed in their hardware. This reliance goes beyond just following a finger. When a dog encounters a problem they can't solve, like a treat trapped under a heavy bowl, they don't just keep digging like a wolf would. They stop, look up, and make eye contact with the nearest human. They have learned that we are the ultimate problem solvers. In their eyes, we aren't just hairless dogs. We are a separate, higher category of being that provides solutions. By selecting for these traits, we didn't just make dogs smaller or fluffier. We installed a unique cross-species communication interface. This interface effectively isolates dogs from the traditional wild pack structure and plugs them directly into the human social network. But the bond isn't just about logic or communication. It's powered by a potent chemical called oxytocin. Often referred to as the love hormone, oxytocin is what makes us feel connected, safe, and attached to others. In the canine-human relationship, it acts as the glue that holds two different species together. Scientists have discovered a remarkable gaze-triggered feedback loop between us. When you and your dog look into each other's eyes, both of your brains release a surge of oxytocin. This creates a cycle where the more you look at each other, the better you both feel. It is a biological reward system for simply being in each other's presence. What's truly incredible is where else we see this. This specific gaze-induced oxytocin loop is the exact same mechanism nature uses to bond human mothers to their newborn infants. It is one of the strongest biological ties in existence, and dogs are the only non-human species known to have tapped into it. The evidence continues in their other senses. Functional MRI scans show that a dog's brain reacts more strongly to the scent of their familiar human than to the scent of any other dog, even when they live with. Their reward centers literally light up at the sound of our voices. To a dog's brain, the human presence provides a level of neurological satisfaction that their own species simply cannot match. By utilizing these neurological pathways, the same ones that strengthen the bond between human parents and their children, dogs have secured a permanent place in our social lives. They haven't just adapted to us, they have integrated themselves into the most intimate parts of our biological reward systems. Does all this internal chemistry mean that dogs love us more than they love other dogs? It's a compelling idea, but the answer requires a bit more nuance. We have to look at the type of love they are feeling. Dogs still have a deep need for canine companionship. They speak the same body language and share rituals that humans can't replicate. A dog's interest in other dogs depends heavily on their early weeks of life and how they were socialized. A dog raised only around people might prefer humans, while one raised in a kennel might feel more at home with other dogs. For a long time, we tried to explain this relationship using the alpha or pack leader model. We thought dogs looked at us as the boss of the pack who needed to be obeyed through fear or dominance. But researchers have moved away from this. That model was based on flawed studies of captive wolves and doesn't actually reflect how dogs view the humans they live with. Instead, behaviors now point to the secure base effect, a concept from human developmental psychology. It describes how a toddler uses their parent as a base to explore the world. If the parent is there, the child feels brave enough to try new things. Dogs do the exact same thing with us. We aren't their alpha. We are their caregivers and their safety anchors. When we stop viewing them as wild pack animals and start seeing them through the lens of attachment, the relationship makes much more sense. We haven't just tamed a wolf. We have invited a permanent toddler of another species into our families, one that looks to us for protection and emotional regulation. So the final answer isn't about a competition between human love and dog love. Evolution didn't design dogs to love us more than each other. It designed them to love us differently. What we are looking at is the creation of a parallel category of love. Over tens of thousands of years of sitting by the same fires and sleeping in the same spaces, we have forged a unique cross-species bond. It is a relationship of mutual dependence that has almost no equivalent anywhere else in the natural world. Perhaps the most remarkable thing isn't that dogs became humanity's best friend. It's that two completely different species evolved to understand, trust, and depend on each other in ways almost no other animals ever have. If you enjoy exploring the hidden psychology and mysteries of animals, subscribe for more documentaries that uncover the science behind the world's most fascinating creatures.